This is part two of the short story, The Lake, that I wrote in 1987. I'm beginning where I left off in part one, with the sentence that I was in the middle of. He straightened up. Words from his heart forced themselves from his mouth. I can't go on with this. There isn't any sense in it, and it's never going to change. He stood silently for a moment, gazing over the fields. A pair of mourning doves glided past, just over the level of the fields, and made a wide circle, landing in a clump of lilac bushes at the edge of the yard. He heard them calling, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." He thought to himself, "Don't you mean why? I never wanted it to be this way. It just happened. Why? Why?" He began to sob. He cried until his tears quenched the fire in his stomach, and then he went inside. She was sitting at the table, sipping coffee with her toast, when he entered. He stood there, a gaunt, vacant figure, looking at her. "I'm not going to work, I'm going fishing," he told her. Without waiting for a reply, he turned and walked out, without looking back. The lake was calm and still shrouded with the morning fog. He rowed slowly. The rhythmic creaking of the oarlocks and splashing of the water soothed him. The sun shone through the fog, making it appear like a glowing white curtain. The further he went, the brighter the light became, until it seemed he was enveloped in the all-encompassing brightness. It became impossible to tell the direction that he was going. He stopped rowing and rested the oars on the side of the boat in the midst of the glowing white incandescence. The morning air and the quietness produced a calm to replace the incessant tumult of his thoughts that had brought him to the lake, and he languished in the peace he felt. It seemed as if the light was now within him. And then a vision appeared. He saw his grandparents and his mother and father, his brother and sister. They were young and youthful. As he watched, they became old and were gone. And then he was there alone. The curtain closed and became the all-encompassing light. He sat quietly. How long he didn't know. And then, spontaneously, he spoke out loud. "Life is, but existence need not be. For all is one," the vision said, in continuity. He sat quietly, absorbed in the vision. His body felt pleasantly warm despite the cool morning air. Inside, he felt peace. He seemed infused with a comforting warmth that came from the light, that was all around and yet was certainly within him. After a moment, he carefully wrapped the anchor rope around his legs and stood up with the anchor in his hands. He smiled and said peacefully, "This will put an end to all the questions." The sound of the splash was heard by no one and became a circle of ripples that rocked the boat and reached the opposite shore. A few bubbles violently broke the surface. There was peace. That's the end, and it's part 2 of a 2-part short story.